Hey guys, this is Leon, and I am here with you to explain something. So, you guys had seen this image that I recently posted of Tasha. She's in a beautiful white garment, and it's a black and white. And you had asked about like what were my camera settings and what was my editing process. So, I'm here to explain it in a nutshell. Okay, so for the editing process, I used the Google NIK software. That's NIK, November India Kilo, uh, to render this into black and white, and I also used a gradient. So I'm here to walk you through exactly what I did. Okay, so my setup was thus. This was my setup here. As you can see, I have here my 48-inch octave. Uh, it's a Pro Studio. I think that's made by Photodiac. I'm using here the Explorer 600 strobe. My sturdy backdrop. It looks kind of weird because I just unfolded it from traveling in my car. A chair and a V flat made of foam core in order to act somewhat as a reflector, to reflect some of that light and to help me manage my shadows. So my settings for the image were 1/2000th of a second at f8. My ISO was 100, and I was using a 50 millimeter Nikon 1.8 lens. Okay, so this was my original image. Okay, and so I'm going to teach you exactly how I got from here to here. Okay, so in a nutshell, I'm not going to go very much through the blemishes and everything because that's something else. All right, so first of all, I'm going to bring this up in Photoshop. I just did a Control E, which exports it to Photoshop, and it'll bring it up. Okay, so in Photoshop here, I'm going to go directly to my NIK software, and I'm going to go to the Silver FX Pro. Okay, Silver FX Pro, and that's going to open it up into the Silver FX Pro software. If you don't have the NIK software, this is something. This is a free software that was developed and Google bought the company. So definitely use it. It's a great software. It's a great company. Download it. It's free. All right. So here, I typically will use just the neutral, I guess the neutral preset over here. What I did, I believe, with this image was I added a little bit of structure here, which gives it, it's kind of like clarity. But as you can see, like, if you look at like if you look at how the transfer from shadow to light area, it kind of makes it a sharper transition. Contrast here, I think I added some contrast, and did I add brightness? Okay, so I'm not going to add any much brightness here, but I'm going to add some contrast, and that was about what I did there. Okay, so I did that, and I brought it back into Photoshop, and in Photoshop, I applied a gradient map with the normal black and white gradient. Okay, this is my gradient map. And what I did there is I probably took this a little bit and played with like my exposure, my contrast, my highlights. Let's see, shadows, whites, blacks. Okay, so typically I'll just go in here and like I'll play with I'll play with my bars until I get exactly what I want. So this gradient map, excuse me, this gradient map here will normally add a certain degree of contrast. So like you can see how working with my opacity here, increasing it and lowering it, like the effect that it's having on the image. Okay, so I'm just going to put that at 60% just to show you, just to give you an idea of like how I worked with it. And each time I do it probably according to just how the image looks and what I like about it. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to liquefy the image, and I did that because I cropped it and liquefied it. I cropped it about right here, and then I liquefied it to give it a certain effect. So first of all, let me crop this image, and I have my delete cropped pixels active there. Okay, so I think I cropped it about right there. All right, now I'm going to crop it again, and I'm going to check my content aware fill. So what that's going to do is that's going to lengthen my background a little bit, and I think I did it about like there so that she would be approximately on that on that intersection there in my, all right, so I did something wrong. All right, so I'm gonna go back. Okay, Control Z. I'm gonna go back, and the problem was is that I did my crop tool while I was on the gradient map and not on the actual image. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my crop tool, and I'm gonna pull that over and close that because it's in the way. Pull that over. And now what it's going to do, this black area here with the content aware fill, that area is going to be filled up with a content aware area over here. So, and ta-da. So basically that move right there extends your background. And I think that, you know, typically with my background, like it has creases in it. I never steam backgrounds. I'll just go into it with the patch tool and clean it up the way I want to. And I think in the original image, I did some, I may have done like some brightening of my corners here. So yeah, and so this is basically just to give you an idea of what I will do with an image to kind of get it to the black and white that I want it to be. Okay, so I'm just doing that for, so after this, I think I added a little bit of matte. So there are a couple ways to do that. You can do that using a curves layer. Let's see. So that adds a little bit of a matte to the image. Another way to do it is to use an exposure layer, which is sometimes what I do. And you can take the offset and drag it to get the amount of matte that you want. It's a neat effect. So let's just say it's like right there. All right. And that was pretty much it. Now, so in addition to this image, I did liquefy it some. So let's go here and we'll do a Control Shift X or Command Shift X and goes to liquefy. And what I did here was I just used my kind of like my forward warp tool, and I think I just probably like brought that down, and I don't think I did much else to it. Like if I wanted to, I could make it like a different shape, but I think I did it slightly. I did some slight liquefying, but I didn't do much. Okay. All right. So that gives you an idea. And this is not exact because I don't have the exact file that I started out with. So I'm going to go back here to my crop tool. Uh-oh, what am I doing here? Crop tool. And I think that this was probably crop more like that. So after that, with the original image, I did go through and clean out the blemishes on the face, as well as do a dodge and burn on the shirt, as well as the wrap that she has on her head. And that took me from this image to that image right there. Hope you guys all enjoy. Take care. Signing off.